Deadly Tarantula Girl coming to you from my private serpentarium. Tonight, the long-awaited separating of the thousands of Nhandu chromatus slings, also known as the Brazilian Red. Now, those who have been following me know that I have a crazy number of offspring. Some of you saw the amazing Eggsac opening, and then a couple follow-up vids where these little slings started molting out. And I know you guys have been waiting for this separation video because your guesses of how many offspring there were have ranged from 200 to 8,000, and yes, there are a crap ton. So they've started molting out into second instar, not all of them, but several. And so tonight I'm going to do part one of the sling separation. For those who have not seen this process before, only the animals who have molted into their second instar stage need to be separated, and they will each be in one teeny weeny enclosure, and the rest will go back into the incubation chamber. So let's get started. Step one is to get my tiny little deli containers, and thank you Phantom Hand. These are the 0.75 ounce polyester portion cups that I do get from restaurant suppliers. Stage two is to poke holes from the inside out with a 16 gauge needle, so these animals have breathing holes. As I have explained, I do use a soldering gun, unless I have teeny weeny guys, which these are. You want to poke from the inside out so there's not any sharp pokey parts that your animals can get caught on. It's nice and smooth inside. Then I have a bunch of containers with holes and lids with holes, and I put a couple centimeters of substrate in, and then the next stage is water. Here is the tall incubation chamber at this point, and you can see these larger, leggier spiderlings. Those are the ones that have already molted out. This clump of weirdness, those are all the ones that are late bloomers. Those are the ones that have not molted out yet. And this big old mess at the bottom, those are all the little exuvia from their first and second instar molts. And you can see they're all like netted together with web, which that's craziness right there. My tried and true technique of spiderling into the spoon. That's the easiest way to move them, one at a time. And I just use a paintbrush and then I pop a lid on. This vermiculite is fairly damp because, oh, that one's too wet. You gotta be careful. They're fragile at this stage. This is going to be a pretty long process, even though most of them have not molted out yet. And so luckily I do have my crew of helpers, but for your viewing pleasure, some of them are working behind the camera. We're like about 90 or 100 in. My container is getting low on second instars. Most of these that are left are first instar. I'm taking a look at the second incubation chamber, and there's quite a few second instars in there. Alrighty, so I'm maybe 2 hours in or so, and we've got about 140 slings separated. I'm down to mainly first instars in both incubation chambers, and so as you know, These little nursery enclosures need to go back into the incubator, and these will go into the feeding rack. And so I now will have cases and cases of little Nhandu chromatus, and I will be doing this all week long, probably a few hours a night. And yes, these babies will be available for sale after they start feeding. So I hope you guys like this one.
And don't forget, half of these are Ronnie Holbert.
Oh yeah. Also, don't forget that half of this offspring belongs to Ronnie Holbert. So as I am going and separating out my slings, I will also be making canisters for him as well, so they can be sent to him, and then he will have his own Nhandu chromatus nursery. So congratulations to Ronnie.